I wish I had a time machine and a magic wand because then I could go back 30 years, aw, and change my little brain from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. Hello, I'm Jenny. I'm a creativity researcher and a coach, and this is Reclaiming Creativity, where we explore what it means to live a creative life, because life with creativity is better than life without it. Today, I wanted to share with you why I am so convinced that a growth mindset is the most critical mindset we can adopt if we want to do anything creative. I'm going to remind you what a growth mindset is, talk a bit about why it matters for creativity, and share some tips about how you can cultivate a growth mindset. But before we dive in, I want to start with a story. As part of my PhD research, I interviewed a bunch of people transitioning from less creative into more creative work. I asked them not only about their current experience, but also about how their relationship to creativity has changed and evolved over the course of their life, starting all the way back in childhood. And there's one story in particular that really made me realize just how important a growth mindset is for creativity. As a child, Safa loved being creative, especially anything to do with textiles and design, and she continued to study creative subjects as electives in high school. She said, looking back now, if she'd been true to herself, she would have pursued that as a career. But the number one thing she blamed for her abandoning her creative dream was her fixed mindset. For Safa, like most of us, as a kid, creativity was just for fun. But as she got older, expectations increased. People around her started saying, "Oh my gosh, Safa, you're so good at art. You're an artist." And these expectations totally freaked her out. She started procrastinating because she was so scared of making something that fell short of these expectations. Eventually, her experience of creativity became a shell of what it once was. And eventually, she stopped doing anything creative altogether for the next 15 years, until she picked up a copy of this book, which caused her to have what she called an epiphany moment. Now, with her growth mindset, she's well on her way to reclaiming her creativity. What I find amazing about this story is that it wasn't criticism that caused her to cut off from her creativity, it was praise. How crazy is that? But it actually makes sense through the lens of fixed versus growth mindset, and here's why. In a fixed mindset, you believe that your abilities are, surprise, surprise, fixed. That you're born with a certain amount of talent, and that's it. Whereas in a growth mindset, you believe that your abilities can change over time, with effort, with the right strategies, and helpful feedback. In a fixed mindset, your goal is to look smart. You're very concerned about what other people think, whereas in a growth mindset, you're just focused on learning and getting better over time. In a fixed mindset, struggle is shameful. You have this expectation that things should be easy. So we either live by the motto, never let them see you sweat, or we give up entirely because if I'm not immediately good at it, well, what's the point? But in a growth mindset, effort is normalized. Getting good at anything takes time and effort. Malcolm Gladwell would say you need to get your 10,000 hours in. In a fixed mindset, feedback is taken personally. When we're criticized, we get defensive and shut down. When we're praised, we get a boost until, like Safa, the expectations psych us out. In a growth mindset, feedback is critical information and the only way we can keep improving. Finally, in a fixed mindset, when others succeed, we feel threatened and jealous because it feels like there's a fixed amount of ability to go around. But in a growth mindset, we feel inspired by the success of others. If they did it, I can do it too. Okay, at this point, you may be thinking, that's great, but what does all this have to do with creativity? Carol Dweck initially studied mindsets about intelligence, but researchers have gone on to explore mindsets about personality, morality, and many other qualities, including creativity. And indeed, studies have shown that having a growth mindset of creativity actually improves your creative problem-solving performance. There's proof. So we know that having a growth mindset helps us be more creative, but there's a problem. This study examined fixed versus growth mindsets about 14 different kinds of intelligence, from verbal to emotional, from practical to mathematical. Guess what was at the bottom of the list? That's right, people had the most fixed mindsets about creative intelligence. Why is that? We call it talent, we call it genius, we call it a gift. We are inundated with messages about child prodigies in all kinds of creative endeavors. Mozart started composing at age 5. Picasso started painting seriously at age 7. We love this idea. It's so romantic, the sense of destiny and being chosen. But here's the thing. And 99% of people doing anything creative are not child prodigies. Let's hear what Carol Dweck has to say about this. Do people with this mindset believe that anyone can be anything? That anyone with proper motivation or education can become Einstein or Beethoven? No. But they believe that a person's true potential is unknown and unknowable. That it's impossible to foresee what can be accomplished with years of passion, toil, and training. Okay, so at this point you may think, this growth mindset sounds great, I'd love to have one, but my fixed mindset is really entrenched. What can I do? So here's 3 things to help you cultivate a growth mindset. First, let yourself be bad at something. Try something new that you have a feeling you're not going to be that great at. I promise you, you will not die. And once you realize that you will not die from being bad at something, the spell has been broken, and you can realize something quite magical. When you start out being bad at something, there's nowhere to go but up. With effort and repetition, you will get better. And that's the evidence, that lived experience that you need to start building that growth mindset. Number 2, ask for feedback. Do the scary thing of sharing your work in progress with someone you respect and asking for their help to how to make it better. Again, I promise you will not die, and you will get at least one idea of how to make your work better. Again, you get lived experience of the growth mindset at play. Finally, if you want a growth mindset, I highly recommend this book. It's a quick read, and it'll go a long way to helping you reprogram your mindset in many areas of your life. If you're looking for more book recommendations, you might want to check out this video where I shared my top 10 books about creativity. That's all for today, and until next time, may your creativity continue to surprise you.